Let me tell you a little bit about Reading Bakery Systems. My dad was an inventor, and he invented the pretzel twisting machine, of all things. And growing up, I ended up in that business. And after a stint in the Army and then going back to working in New York as a banker for Chemical Bank, I used to say I went straight and went back to work with my father. I was the 6th employee at Reading Pretzel Machinery, and our first year sales were $330,000. We made money because there were only 6 of us, but it wasn't much, and it was a lot of work. But over the years, through acquisition and growth and a lot of internal organic work, we built the company, got it bigger and bigger. We added, as you can see here, TL Green, which was a great company in Indianapolis, Indiana, that made biscuit and cracker equipment. We started Reading Thermal Systems, which is an instrumentation company that helped us build instruments that went through ovens so we could understand what happens inside a baking oven. And we started a technical center, which became the hub of the whole industry. People come there every week to run experiments and to work with our staff. And we bought a company in Memphis, Tennessee called Exact Continuous Mixing, which is a company that really is the leader in this field, and we think this is where mixing is going forward. So our core technologies include certainly cracker production. We're the #1 manufacturer of cracker machinery. That picture in the lower right side is the largest cracker line in North America. It's producing 11,000 pounds of crackers an hour. You could probably put 11,000 pounds in a 50-foot tractor trailer because crackers don't weigh much. So you can imagine when that line isn't working well. I was baking on that line for 6 days and didn't make a cracker that was saleable. I can tell you it made a heck of a lot of scrap. We also make biscuit lines, and this is a line on the lower right side there that's making the ice cream wafer, the sandwich cookie that goes on the top and bottom of an ice cream sandwich. They have to be perfectly flat, and they're put through a machine that fills ice cream about 600 pieces a minute. And so if you don't have them perfectly flat, they're also scrap. So we're an expert in that field. We do equipment for fabricated potato chips. You might know them as Pringles or Stacks, for example. We do that all around the world. And our core technology in pretzels, there's a couple of products that I invented on the right side there. The little braids were the first one that braid two pieces of pretzel that are twisted together. So all of these things are everyday things for us. And you can see here, we do about half our business overseas at any one year. We're very much like a shipbuilder, so in the sense that our projects are very large. $1.5 million is a small one, $3.5 million is a big one. So in any one quarter, you can see from a timing perspective as a CFO, we can change. You can miss your quarterly projections by $3.5 million because your customer asks you to delay shipment because his building isn't ready, for example. We're about half and half again in cookie and cracker and half in snacks. And we are, as you can see, sell in all around the world, in Europe, in Latin America, Russia, China, India are all markets for us. Every year we held a strategic planning meeting. And we would sit there and all get together and we'd say, well, how are we going to do this next year? How are we going to improve results? And we got everybody in the sales guys and we talked about it. And I stood up at the board and I wrote down a range of things. In this particular area, we should be able to do from here to there. And we would talk about it. And this was our 1999 plan. And we said, we should be able to sell between $8 and $10 million of pretzel equipment with our eyes closed. I remember using that term. Sometimes I wish I didn't say things. But spare parts, we should be able to drive that up. We have a whole series of topics here that we thought we could hit. Well, how did we do? We said in spare parts, we're going to drive that up by 50%. We're going to put more people on it. We're going to get on the phones. We're going to talk about it. What happened? Well, it increased 18%. So we sort of missed that. We talked about service department sales. We said we could increase that by 50%. What did we do? It actually declined 8%. Our strategic partnership that we had with a company that operated all around the world, we thought we could rely on them for somewhere between $1.5 million and $3 million. Results, they sold one lab machine, $250,000. And for pet treats, which you know, like the little dog treats are made on a biscuit line, just like other biscuits. And there we said we thought we could get that at $1.5 million. How'd we do? 0. So you can imagine me sitting at the helm of the ship saying, this is really great. And the same with the cracker line. How did we do with crackers? I'll see if I can get this to advance. The sales goal was $1.5 million, and the actual sales were 0. But not on the list was an item called snack mix systems, and we sold $5.5 million of that, and it wasn't on the list. It wasn't something we were looking for, right? So if you want to know how you can miss projections, come talk to me. So at the end of 2006, by the end of 2006, I was, by the way, in 1999, and you see here the year 2000, we hit the bottom. And what I decided to do was work extra hard. And I got on everyone's tail, and I forced things to happen. I stayed on it and stayed on it and stayed on it. And I drove the revenues up, I think. And then I ran out of energy. And it sort of drifted sideways again. And then the minute I relieved the pressure, it fell off. And that's when I happened, by accident, my son was going to DePaul University, and he said, you know, there's a seminar, maybe you ought to attend. And I said, well, I know everything. I've been running business for 30 years. I should know this. He said, you should come. So I went and I heard Dr. Frigo speak. And the reason I'm up here is that resulted in probably a $20 million bump in my valuation. So I'm an advocate of what I'm about to tell you here. I can tell you. We looked at this pyramid. I invited Dr. Frigo down to Indianapolis for our annual meeting, and he spent 2 days there. And we went through this in fine detail. It took us 2 days. We could have spent more time on this. And every one of them, as simple as it sounds, there was something Zen in the background. I think about the Zen saying, the snow falls, each flake in the appropriate place. And you'll think about that, and maybe flying home tomorrow, you'll think about it, and you realize what that means. It's a very, very interesting and implicative statement. Everything on the pyramid is that way.